Hi, this is Ajay Anand and welcome to science classes from excelup.com. In this video, you will learn about electricity. You will learn about electric current, about potential difference. Then you will learn about the Ohm's law. You will learn about resistance, especially various combination of resistors like series combination and parallel combination. Then you will learn about the heating effect of electric current and about the unit of electric power. Electric current is defined as the amount of charge flowing through an area in unit time. So the way we consider the flow of water as water current, say for example water is flowing from through a pipe, then we say that water current is flowing through a pipe. Similarly, when electric charge is flowing through a conductor, we call that electric current is flowing through the conductor. So electric current is equal to net charge upon time. I is equal to Q upon T, where I stands for electric current, Q is for electric charge and T is for time. The SI unit of electric charge is Coulomb, SI unit of time is second, and 1 Coulomb is equal to the charge on 6 into 10 power 18 electrons. So SI unit of electric current is ampere, and by this relation we can say that 1 ampere is equal to 1 Coulomb upon 1 second, that is 1 ampere is equal to 1 Coulomb per second. The device which is used to measure electric current is called ammeter, and it is connected in series with a component for which we have to measure the electric current. Now this diagram, it shows the direction of charge as per the convention. So as per the convention, the electrons, they flow from negative terminal to positive terminal as shown by the blue line over here, and the electric charge, it flows in the opposite direction, which is shown by the red line, that is from positive terminal to the negative terminal. Now let us talk about potential difference. Potential difference is work done per unit charge to move the charge between 2 points. So electric charge moves because of potential difference. If there will be no difference, then electric charge won't move. Say for example, water moves from one point to another because of the difference in pressure. So if the water is kept in overhead tank, it will move downwards through the pipe because the pressure in overhead tank is more than the pressure at the end of the tank. Similarly, the electric charge, it moves because of potential difference. So potential difference is equal to work done divided by charge. V is equal to W upon Q, where V is potential difference or voltage, W is work done, and Q is charge. The SI unit of potential difference is voltage, and SI unit of work is joule, and that of charge is coulomb. So voltage is equal to joule upon coulomb, or we can also say that 1 volt is equal to 1 joule per coulomb or joule per coulomb. The device which is used to measure the potential difference of voltage is called voltmeter, and it is connected in parallel with a component for which we need to measure the potential difference. Ohm's law. Ohm's law gives the relationship between potential difference and electric current. So this law says that the potential difference varies directly at electric current. So if V is potential difference and I is electric current, then V varies as I, or V upon I is equal to R, where R is called the resistance and it is the constant of proportionality. Resistance is the property of conductor to resist the flow of current. So every conductor, every material, it resists the flow of current through it. So if the resistance is less, then the conductor can be called good conductor. If the resistance is very high, then the material is called bad conductor or insulator. The SI unit of resistance is ohm. This graph, it shows the relationship between electric current and potential difference. So electric current is shown on this axis and potential difference is shown on this axis. Since electric current varies directly as potential difference, so we get an upwardly slanting line on graph. Causes of resistance. There are many causes of resistance. Number one cause is nature of material. Number two is length of conductor, and number three is area of cross section. Silver is considered to be the best conductor because it offers the least resistance, and one of the best insulators is hard plastic because it offers the maximum resistance. Now, as far as length of conductor is concerned, the resistance varies directly as length of the conductor. For area of cross section, resistance varies inversely as area of cross section. Resistance varies as 1 upon A. If we combine these two equations, then what we get? We get R varies as L upon A, or R is equal to rho multiplied by L upon A, where rho is the constant of proportionality, and this is called resistivity. The SI unit of resistivity is ohm meter. Here are some examples of resistivities of some materials. So the resistivity of silver is 1.60 multiplied by 10 power minus 8. That of copper is 1.62 multiplied by 10 power minus 8. So 10 power minus 8 means that 1.60 divided by 10 power 8. So it will come to 0.0000 something. So this shows that silver and copper, they have very low resistivity, and that is why these are good conductors. Glass and diamonds, they have resistivity in the tune of 10 to 10 power 14. So the exponents on 10, they are in positive. So the resistivity is too high, and that is why these materials, glass and diamond, they are bad conductors of electricity or insulators. Now you need to understand about the combination of resistors. Resistors, they can be combined in two ways. One of the method is called a series combination, and another is called the parallel combination. In case of series combination, resistors, they are connected end to end. Okay, so that, say for example, these are three resistors. So one end of this resistor is connected to the battery, and another end is connected to another resistor. This resistor is connected to this one, and finally the terminal end of this resistor is connected to the battery. In case of parallel resistors, what happens? All the resistors, both their points, they are connected with the batteries. Okay. So now what happens to the equivalent resistance of the combination? So by experiments, it is observed that total potential difference or total voltage is the sum of the potential difference across individual resistance. So if V1 is the potential difference of this resistor, V2 is the potential difference of R2, and V3 is the potential difference of R3, then the total resistance, total potential difference, that is V, is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. From Ohm's law, we know that V is equal to IR. So we can write V1 is equal to IR1, V2 is equal to IR2, and V3 is equal to IR3. So substituting these values in this equation, we get IR is equal to IR1 plus IR2 plus IR3. And if we divide this equation by I, then what we get? We get R is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. So this means that equivalent resistance of a combination of resistors in series is equal to arithmetic sum of the resistance of individual resistors. So that is R is equal to R1, R2 plus R3. Okay. Now what happens in case of the resistors in parallel? So these are the resistors, they are connected in parallel, R1, R2 and R3. By experiment, it is observed that I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. So I1 is the current through R1, I2 is the current through R2, and I3 is the current through R3, and I is the current through the total circuit. Okay. From Ohm's law, we know that V is equal to IR. So, or I is equal to V upon R. So, we can say that I1 is equal to V upon R1, I2 is equal to V upon R2, and I3 is equal to V upon R3. So, we can write V upon R is equal to V upon R1 plus V upon R2 plus V upon R3. And if we divide this equation by V, then we get 1 upon R is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3. This means that the reciprocal of equivalent resistance is equal to the sum of reciprocals of individual resistances. That is, 1 upon R is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3. So, this means that while in case of the series combination, the equivalent resistance is more than the individual resistances, but in case of parallel combination, the equivalent resistance is less than the individual resistances, because here we are taking reciprocals. Okay, and that is why most of the wiring or household wiring, it is done as a parallel combination to reduce the resistance on the circuit. Heating effect of electric current. What happens whenever electric current flows through a resistor or a device? Some of the electrical energy is used for useful purposes. Say, for example, if we are passing the current through a ceiling fan, some of the electrical energy, it will be utilized in moving the ceiling fan. The rest of the energy, it gets dissipated in the form of heat, which results in heating of the ceiling fan. So, heating of the resistor due to dissipation of energy is called heating effect of electric current, and heat is because of work. So, we can say that say work done in moving a charge cube for potential difference V is equal to VQ, and if it is moved for time t, then P is equal to V multiplied by Q upon T. So, P stands for power. We know that I is equal to Q upon T, that is current is equal to charge per unit time. So, we can write P is equal to V multiplied by I. Now, since electrical energy is supplied for time t, we can assume a certain time. Okay, so we can say that P multiplied by T is equal to VIT. So, heat produced in time t is equal to H is equal to VIT. Now, we know from Ohm's law that V is equal to IR. So, heat is equal to, that is H is equal to IR. Here the value of V is being substituted over here, multiplied by IT. So, this can also be written as H is equal to I square RT. And now, this equation, this is known as the Joule's law of heating, which says that heat varies directly as I square or square of current. Heat varies directly as resistance, and heat varies directly as time. So, if resistance is increased, the heat will increase. If electric current is increased, the heat will increase. And if electric current is passed for more time, then more heat will be evolved in the process. And based on this concept, that is Joule's law of heating, all the heating devices, they work. So, for example, electric iron, geyser, water heater, these things, they work on heating effect of electric current. In this section, you will learn about the unit of electric power. SI unit of electric power is watt, and 1 watt is 1 volt into 1 ampere, because in the previous section you read that power is equal to volt into current. Now, since watt is a smaller unit, so we generally use kilowatt, and 1 kilowatt is 1000 watt. Now, what is unit of electrical energy? It is kilowatt hour, because even 1000 watt is not a big quantity. So, for commercial purposes, for measuring the consumption of electricity in household and in factories, people use kilowatt hour as the unit, and that is also called a unit. So when you will go through the electricity bill of your household, you will see that the bill is showing units, number of units consumed for a month. So now 1 kilowatt hour is 1000 watt multiplied by 1 hour, and is equal to 1000 watt multiplied by 3600 seconds, that is 60 multiplied by 60. This equals to 3.6 into 10 power 6 watt second, and this is also represented as 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 3.6 into 10 power 6 joule. So that is 1 unit of electric current. Okay, so I talked about electric current, about potential difference, and I talked about Ohm's law that gives the relationship between potential difference and electric current. Then I talked about the combination of resistors, series combination and parallel combination, and then I talked about the heating effect of electric current and about the commercial unit of electric power. That's all. Thank you.